In these problems, we get to imagine that we are statisticians going out in the world and gathering some data in the best way that we can. And we're going to have to choose how we do it, what units we use, and what's our method for gathering that data. This first one says Dante wants to find the average time it takes West High School students to run a lap around the track. So he will consider a sample of students to find the average time. So what he's trying to find is time. In the first question here, it says which units could be used for the unit of measurement. Check all that apply. So don't just check which one you think is the best. And you might think minutes or maybe even seconds is best for someone running around a track, but we're measuring time. So all that would be any time unit. So maybe the track is really long. We don't know. Could take hours to get around it. I don't know. Seconds, minutes, any of those could be used to measure the time. B is a little more interesting. It says which of the procedures below would be the best way to find the average time. So there are a couple of things to know here about taking statistical samples like this. A large sample is better. So if you have the choice between a smaller and a larger sample, the larger one is better. And then you want objective measurements. So you might get choices where people are reporting their own times. And it would be better, if possible, to have somebody else measure everybody's time rather than relying on the people involved. Because who knows, maybe they want to come off better or faster than they really are. So we'd want to avoid that source of error. So let's look at the choices here. It says, ask for 24 volunteers to run a lap around the track and have them state their own times. Well, stating their own times, that's not great. And actually, volunteers is not that great either, because people who volunteer for a study might have a reason. Maybe they're really proud of how fast they can run, and so they're excited to be in your study. And then that's not really a representative sample of the whole group. So random, better than volunteers. That's a third one. So random is better. So let's look at the next one. Measure the times of 6 volunteers who run a lap around the track. Well, measuring the time, that's definitely better than self-reporting. There's only 6 though. That's a pretty small sample. Let's see if we've got something better. This one says randomly pick 24. Okay, so it's randomly picked rather than volunteers. It's 24, that's a larger number. And then measure their times rather than reporting. This one looks promising, but let's read the last one here. This one says randomly pick 6 students to run a lap around the track and have them state their own time. So this one's got 2 strikes against it. It's a smaller sample size, and they're stating their own times rather than the times being measured by someone else. So I think this one, a random sample of a large number and measured objectively, got to be the best. All right, let's do one more. So this one says, Isabel wants to find the average height of students in the 12th grade. So she will use the heights of 50 students in the 12th grade to find the average height. Okay, so the 12th grade maybe has hundreds of students in it. I don't know how big the high school is, but Isabel doesn't have the time to measure everyone, so she's going to measure 50 and use that as a way of trying to find out what the average height is likely to be. So the first question is which units could be used for the unit of measurement. And since she's measuring height, any length measurement is fine. Pounds, no. Ounces, no. Centimeters, that's length. Grams, no. But inches, yes. So these two are both units of length, so they could be used to measure someone's height. So we'll check both of those. All right. B says which of the procedures below would be the best way. So randomly pick 50. I like randomly pick from the 12th grade and have them state their own. I don't like state their own. Okay. This one says randomly pick 50. Good. That's good. And measure their heights. That one I like a lot. I'm going to keep that in mind. Then the next one says measure the heights of 50 volunteers. Volunteers not as good as randomly picking. And the last one, ask for 50 volunteers and to have them state their own heights. That's got 2 strikes, volunteers and stating their own instead of being measured. So I think the second one is definitely the best. So that is a little bit of work with how to design studies to get data that's going to be more accurate and representative.